This is a strike on a military facility where Russia has accumulated missiles for strikes on the territory of Ukraine. May this accusations of Russia testify that Putin wasn't going to adhere to the ceasefire. What is your opinion?
Yes, I mean, you just mentioned it. Engels Air Base near Saratov is a military installation, so it was not covered by any ceasefire. If Putin thought that not striking oil and gas facilities, as well as not striking again Ukrainian energy facilities, which he did right after signing, or not signing, but agreeing to the ceasefire, then you can see how dead wrong he is. Of course, we have heard from Ms. Zakharova and others that, you know, the Nazi terrorists and all this kind of stuff should not do anything. I think the underlying problem here is that Putin and still don't understand that they are in a war with another country. And this means that this country is striking back at them. It's striking back at Saratov, it's striking back at Krasnodar, it's striking back at Belgorod. And as long as he does not understand this, or as long as he labels every counterattack by the Ukrainian army terrorism, I think there's no basis to negotiate with him. He must understand that he started this war. Ukraine is striking back. It has every right to strike back under international legal law and legal system. So Putin should stop being astonished and should stop reacting accordingly by withdrawing from Ukraine.
Okay. Let's talk about conditions. How do you think it should happen? A complete halt to attacks? Should countries provide each other with a list of targets, or can it be attacked? What do you think about the conditions of this ceasefire?
Well, ironically, this is one thing Putin was right about. You need monitors. You need a system to monitor who is striking what and why. And you have seen this kind of system, which was the OSCE monitoring mission, a special monitoring mission. And as you know, it was outlawed. It was called terrorist organization by the the fake Russian republics of Donetsk and Luhansk. They call them terrorists. And if they call them terrorists, and Moscow says this is part of Russia, then Moscow itself calls the observers terrorists. So, I mean, this again goes into this dirty play Putin is playing with the whole world, I could say, not just with Ukraine, by, of course, first rightly stating we need observers, and then saying every observer is a terrorist. So, in the end, again, I do not see anyone who could control, at least observe, but even control, that would be better, a ceasefire between the two sides. And I think this is, of course, what Mr. Putin thinks, because right now he's still advancing, unfortunately, in Ukraine, not so much in Pokrovsk area, but if you look a little bit further to the northeast, to Ceasefire area, there he has been capturing another 2 villages over the past couple of days. If you look to Velika Novosilka area in the south, they also have been capturing another 2 villages over the past 3 days. So unfortunately, the Russian army is still advancing. And as it is advancing, why would it have any reason to stop the war? I mean, you would have to bring Putin in a situation where he thinks it's beneficial to him to stop the war. It's beneficial to stop losing soldiers. It's beneficial to not advancing anymore, or even put him in a situation where he cannot advance anymore. Unfortunately, this point was not reached so far. So I fully understand, if I put myself just for a second into the criminal Vladimir Putin, I fully understand from his point of view that he is just giving excuses and in reality trying to push forward, because unfortunately he is not in a situation yet where he would have to stop his invasion.
Okay, let's talk about the regions that Putin wants to occupy by. He's unable to militarily seize the entire Zaporizhia, Kherson, Luhansk, Donetsk regions of Ukraine, but he wants to get them from agreement with Trump. In your recent article, you wrote that Putin wants to take most of Ukraine's natural resources, as well as keep under this control Europe's largest nuclear power plant in Zaporizhia, which is already in Russian hands. To what extent does Trump ready to support such ambitious plans of Putin?
Yes. I mean, absolutely right. I just said that the Russian army is advancing, but it is very slowly advancing and at a very high price. And even everyone in Moscow knows that militarily, if you want to capture Zaporizhia Oblast, you would need another 2 or 3 years maybe. If you want to capture Kherson Oblast, you would have to cross the Dnieper river. And even though it is much more narrow now because of Russians blow up the Kakhovka Dam, as you know, it is still a very ambitious endeavor. And they have been trying, you remember this in the very beginning of the war in Odessa. They have been trying their landing operation. It was only very close by. 11 ships, I think, were there. And they didn't do it because they knew it will be a high casualty endeavor. The same would happen if they attack Kherson over the river. So what is his answer? His answer is that we have to play like being big and being strong and being the winner. And then we have to convince Mr. Trump and the US government to give us what we want voluntarily without a fight. And of course, I think you and I know that no Ukrainian government, not for political reason and not for military reason, should ever give Kherson and Zaporizhia regions for free to the Russians. I mean, they know they will lose 100 soldiers for every 5 kilometers or 2 kilometers they advance there. They know that they have no chance to advance over the Dnieper River. So, of course, his only chance is to get this by negotiations, and no one in Ukraine wants to negotiate this with him. So he negotiates with the Americans and hopes that they will force the Ukrainian government to voluntarily pull out of these regions. And I really hope that the Ukrainian government will not give into this blackmail.
Okay, next let's talk about the Kursk region and what is the current situation there. What do you know about the situation in the Kursk? Because we have different information. Trump said that Ukrainian soldiers in Kursk region they are encirclement of more than 2,000 Ukrainian soldiers, and this is not true. Volodymyr Zelensky said, what do you know about the situation over there?
Yes, I mean, what I see from open source analysis is that Volodymyr Zelensky is absolutely right here. There has not been any encirclement. There have been, of course, difficult conditions to withdraw to the Sumy region. And also we see right now that Ukraine still holds around 4 villages in Kursk Oblast. So this means that there was also no plan to withdraw all forces. There was a plan to go to the heights. We heard this, I think, from some Ukrainian soldiers, because they offer a superior defense of Sumy region than withdrawing to the state border. So there has never been a siege. No Ukrainian soldiers have been besieged. And we have seen that the Russians try to lay sort of siege when they try to cut the biggest supply route to this remaining areas in Kursk. And I think the Russians have advanced 2 villages in Sumy. The first one was taken fully, and the second one, I think Basivka is the name, it was taken half. But this was really taken half, and not by a big number of soldiers, not even by infantry fighting vehicles, but it was maybe 10 soldiers coming with some quads. And you could see that first the Ukrainian army destroyed these quads. They hunted down the soldiers. And yesterday you could see a new video from Basivka where one of the surviving Russians surrendered to the Ukrainian troops who were on the other side of the road. So this means the Ukrainian army is present in Basivka. They are defending the last supply road, which has always been the last supply road to Sochi. So there's nothing new about it. And all in all, the situation, I think, is very interesting, because in Kursk we have some Ukrainian troops remaining. But in nearby Belgorod Oblast, you have seen that there has been a Ukrainian attack on a couple of villages. I think the Ukrainian army has confirmed that there is an aim to create a buffer zone inside Russia, which is very interesting. And we will see how this evolves. Right now, I don't see the Russian army pushing further forward. You remember that after the fall of Malaya Lognia, another 25 villages and 1 town, Sochi, have fallen within 2 days. So this was a very hard time for the Ukrainians. But right now, they are in a new position to defend. They are supplied, and they are not being forced out of Kursk.
And my